Welcome to the Course Creators Circle podcast, where we talk all things course creation with your host, ideas strategist, and Thinkific approved expert, Linda Reed-Enever. The Course Creators Circle podcast is home to Linda's top tips, along with interviews with experts and course creators just like you. Get ready for practical tips you can implement in your course creation journey with your host, Linda Reed-Enever.
Hi everyone, Linda Reed-Enever, Course Creators Circle founder and Thinkific approved expert, back with another episode of the Course Creators Circle podcast for you. Now, this topic that we're going to delve into today in the podcast is avoiding putting too much into one course, because quite often your course is more than one course. What we teach in a face-to-face environment in particular versus what we teach online can actually cause a lot of overwhelm and learning paralysis when it comes to our students. And that's what we're wanting to avoid. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you some tips and some tricks to help you avoid that in your course creation journey. We know as educators a lot, okay? We know a lot of stuff. We know a lot of content, and we might want to try and pack it into one course just to make it all valuable. But if we pack everything into one course to make it all valuable, what we risk is the moment in time where our students get overwhelmed. They don't know which bit to start at. They feel like there's too much in there to buy and they don't know what they don't know. So do I want it all, or is this too much for me? Is it too advanced? When we're structuring our courses, if we can answer a problem, solve a problem, and give them a win by the end of that course, then we're in a winning formula. Now, I'm going to share with you a story today about when I first started teaching online. Now, I'm a trained teacher. I should have known better. You know, we talk about breaking things up so that we can reinforce the learning and make sure people get to learn things. But I decided I would take my Working with the Media course, and it's still up on our Thinkific site if anyone wants to go and see it, which was my 3 days worth of training, and try and pack it all into one course. Now, what I did in that process is I spent a lot of days and a lot of time creating that content, and I then overwhelmed the students, and I overwhelmed the market so much so that I think to date that course has sold a whole total of 3. But what I did realize is the inquiries I was getting, the information I was getting, and what I learned from that was I had sections. I had bits that I could sell from that particular course by itself. One of those is one of my most successful courses, which is how to write a media release. And that course was literally about 5 to 6 lessons of this particular course. So what we did was we broke it down and we stepped in from the basis of times of how to write a media release. We explained why people would write a media release, and we titled a brand new course, How to Write a Media Release. We have sold hundreds of that course, and it's one particular module of that Working with a Media course. The other courses that we're looking at bringing out from this one, and we are looking at bringing them out this year, happens to be what makes a great interview. We've done some stuff on blogging for business. We pulled some stuff out of that and spoke about blogging and guest posting. And the reason that I say this to you all is we all go through it. We all go through the ability, if I just pack everything in, it's going to be value. But it's of no value to us, and it's of no value to our students if the curriculum outline overwhelms them. So when we start to plan our courses, it comes down to planning. We have on the Course Creators Circle our course planning sheets. And when we go through those course planning sheets with you, one of the things that we ask you to do is look at what are the things that people are going to learn by the end of the course. Now, if we can focus on one win by the end of the course, that's great. So Working with the Media, I was going to give them all the understanding about Working with the Media. When we did how to write a media release, the win by the end of it was they were going to understand how to write a media release. I broke my lessons up into smaller chunks of that process. So what makes a good headline? What's the body? What's the key formula that goes into a release? And I broke it up into that formula. And by doing that, I was able to give my students a win with each lesson and with each module. And we were able to provide them a solution that was achievable in their mind. When we are teaching online, we are teaching self-paced learning. Self-paced learning requires intrinsic and internal motivation. We're not great at that as humans because we can get distracted by the next bright, shiny object and go off and do something. So when we start to put our course content together for our students, we need to do the right thing by them and actually deliver them small wins at the end of each lesson that keep building up to the bigger win. My rule of thumb when we're looking at creating courses is 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours max of learning time. So 4 hours max of lesson time, doing a little bit of work in between and getting them through the process. If you put more than that into a course, it's harder for a business owner or a person wanting to make change in their life to carve out that block of time. We recommend that in course creation, our lessons are about that 10-minute mark so people can fit it in between something and learn and do something. You might have homework after that lesson, but giving them 10 minutes of instruction, 15 minutes of instruction works really well. The other thing in this process is don't stop if you know you need to do a 30-minute how-to on something, but make sure that you give them instruction, give them a win, and give them something that's going to reinforce. If we are overwhelmed as instructors putting our courses together, I can guarantee you our students are going to be overwhelmed and will also be overwhelmed when it comes to marketing it. So the question of today's podcast, is your course one course or two courses or maybe even more? Don't be afraid to break your content up and deliver it. You can always bundle it together and put it into a membership or a bundle further on down the track. But what you can't do very easily is go back and pull pieces out. There's lots of re-recording and workflows to be able to put a big course into something smaller. So learn from my lesson. It's a lesson that I leave live on our Thinkific site so that you all don't feel bad. And look at making small changes that add up in your students' lives through your courses rather than one huge change that may not be achievable and might be overwhelming and lead to learning paralysis or even worse, purchasing paralysis instead. That's the end of this one today. I look forward to sharing more tips with you in the Course Creators Circle podcast. Tune in. And if you're looking for marketing tips, why not head over and have a listen to my Talk podcast where I share short, sharp marketing tips with you as well.
Thank you for listening to the Course Creators Circle podcast. Don't forget to check out the full range of resources available for course creators at www.thecoursecreatorscircle.com.au.